We're live. Welcome inside. Okay, mics are going up, guys.
Welcome inside the locker.
Tonight's adventure begins. The Locker Room on Smooth 98.1. Brought to you by Nine Mobile. Nine Mobile. Here for you. Here for Niger.
Here for you, here for Niger. All right, Lagos, this is the Locker Room 981 with Valentine Ohu.
And Ayo Mairo Ese, and it's brought to you by Nine Mobile.
Nine Mobile. Now we have Tega Supreme with us. I will not give her an elaborate welcome because she's been very not nice to me. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning. I haven't seen you this morning, so I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, now if you want to see Tega, you can see her on YouTube, youtube.com, search for Smooth 98.1 FM. And you can also interact with us through WhatsApp and Twitter.
Yes, our WhatsApp number is 0809444091. Twitter, we're at Smooth 981 FM. The hashtag is LockerRoom981.
Okay, so let's go on to our first story for today. And we're starting off with basketball. So Lillard, DeRozan back out of Team USA. Another one?
Yes.
Oh gosh. All right. So Portland Trail Blazers guard Damian Lillard and San Antonio Spurs guard DeMar DeRozan have become the latest players to withdraw from playing for Team USA at this summer's World Cup in China, sources confirmed to ESPN yesterday. Now they are the 7th and 8th players to pull out ahead of training camp, which starts on the 5th of August in Las Vegas. The national team is still waiting on answers from other players on the roster, including Kevin Love.
Yeah. So here is what the thing is with the US. A lot of players have been pulling out recently for various reasons. Like I said, they won it one time too many. In fact, if they win it this time, then it will be the 3rd time consecutively they've won it.
Wow.
And the 2nd time they've done it 3 peats. So I don't know that they're tired, but I'm sure they have. I would say this: they have a plethora of all-star players that can come in and fit in. But like I said, the problem comes down to, I came here to see LeBron James. Where is he? Because that's what you want to see with the US. You don't want to see just any team. You want to see the players that you know, that you've bought their sneakers, that you've invested money for, that you have spent sleepless nights on. And then you come in and you're wondering who these names are. So it's not the first time for America that they'd have this amount of withdrawals, but it is a time in America where you want to sell the American brand, and there's really no, I'm looking for the word that doesn't put the other people in poor light, but there's really no iconic person that is on the team. So the likes of Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to manage. And teams like Spain are not getting any worse, or Brazil are not getting any worse, or Argentina, even with a few retirements, are not getting any worse. And so you want your best of the best. And unfortunately, those guys will not be available to them. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to watching.
I was going to say that it obviously will affect viewership. Really affect sponsorship as well.
Well, the people that have put their money have put their money. Yeah, the World Cup is in August, so the people have already put their money down since. What it is that you would be looking forward to watch US before. Yeah. Now you can pass over.
Oh, that's such a shame.
So the skills wouldn't change. The quality may not drop, but the names are not there, so the attraction is not there.
Maybe other teams will now be more ginger to play better, since there's a good chance that they could possibly beat the US.
Yeah, and then again, maybe the US will also be more ginger to play better. So, because sometimes that's what happens. You give somebody the opportunity and he wants to prove why he's there. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. Good one.
The former Super Eagles goalkeeper trainer, Ike Shorumo, has made a deal for efforts to develop the Nigerian leagues and quality of play for a better national team. In his words, this is the quote: "We need to work more on our league. If our league is still the same way we've been running before, things would have been better. When the foreign base came to the camp, they probably know there will be no competition and will stroll in to pick up jerseys. But if there is a competition for them, and especially from home, it might be different."
Yeah, and so all these the arguments about why don't you, we have some talents in the local league, why don't you pick them? We have some home based players that would have done better than some players. This is somebody that has sat on the bench of the Super Eagles, and so he knows what, and he's been in multiple training camps as a player, and most importantly and most recently as a coach. And so he can see that the gulf in, I won't say talent, but production or output. And he's saying, just let the local leagues start delivering. If you may argue with a man's methods, but you can't argue with results. If you get on the pitch and you're pulling your weight, then there's nobody that will not pick you at the end of the day. So he's just saying, instead of us to argue and start pointing fingers at this person, this coach doesn't like local players, this coach doesn't want to develop our league, this coach is not encouraging our home-based players. It's more like, let the home-based players give you a performance that you cannot argue against. And then so what it is now is that the foreign based players are just coming on knowing that my seat is guaranteed. So they don't even have to spend sleepless nights like I have been doing all weekend booking flights for people to travel. They're just strolling knowing that they're going to play. And he says maybe if there were a little bit more competition from home base, then they'll take it more seriously and they'll deliver even differently. And which is what I'm saying about the US men's team. That now that the big names are pulling out, the other names will be saying, this is my opportunity to shine. And so they may even perform better without those names, even if they may not be the action attraction. And so that's what the home-based players need to do. They need to get up and say, you know what? Yeah, we are home-based, but this is what we can do. And if they start delivering, you can't argue against them. You have to take them.
I actually really appreciate his comments. I can imagine just how painful it is. And it's just that feeling of a sense of being second class to people who have gone abroad.
So because he's been in that role, he probably see these foreign based players and know that they can do better, but they don't have anything putting them under pressure. They know that jersey is mine. I'm starting.
And it also foster animosity in the team.
Oh no, it has already for which animosity with who? You can't have animosity if you're not even in camp. The problem is that they're not moving. You have to see the person you're quarreling with to quarrel now.
Not necessarily. We were talking about in the real sense of the word. But Odia Okosun on YouTube says, okay, seeing the world most famous Tega for the first time. I enjoy your analysis. Well done.
Well done. All right. Okay, let's go on to Formula One. So Lewis Hamilton has no doubt Sebastian Vettel will recover from his recent run of high-profile mistakes. Oh dear. All right. So when asked if he missed fighting Vettel for the title, Hamilton said, "I'm not one for me. Let me use his voice. I'm not one for missing many things. I miss my dogs, I miss family, but I don't miss certain action things." All right, let me go back to normal. But of course, I love the racing. I do love the racing element. I loved competing against Ferrari last year. I wish the battle that at Silverstone was with the Ferraris. It's different when you're racing within a team, and I've always told you, I much prefer it when you're racing with the Red Bull and the Ferraris. But currently, that's not how it is. But I absolutely believe he'll rebound. You look at the greats playing tennis, and he's one of those. He'll recover. He'll redeem himself if he feels he needs to, and he'll come back stronger at the next race.
Okay, so here's what I agree with him on the he doesn't want to race against his teammates, because if you watch the race between himself and Valtteri Bottas, you will know that this is not your usual Hamilton, the downfall driver. Because Toto Wolff have told them, I think Toto Wolff senses, because of the way Bottas feels like he's been shortchanged. Like every time he gets close to winning, something happens. His tire gives way. There's some strategy. There's some safety car. Sometimes it's the weather. He just seems to be the one caught in the thunderstorms every time. And so he's there's that, when he gets into the paddock, there's that I'm ready to fight for something. And so Toto Wolff had told them before the race for some strange reason, because they're I mean, the Finns are known for not being vocal and too expressive, which is why some people ask, do they laugh in Finland? I don't know why, but we've seen Kimi Räikkönen and we've seen Valtteri Bottas, and both of them have the same Iceman behavior. so Totobo, for some reason, in spite of that, had told both drivers, whatever you do, remember that the championship is more important. So know how you are going to race. We don't want any clashes. And so they get into the race at Silverstone, and there is that moment at the early part of the race where Lewis Hamilton and Bottas are wheel to wheel. And it was such a polite, battle. It was different from Charles Leclerc Verstappen or Sebastian Vettel Verstappen. It was totally different. Those ones, you knew that they were going for it. They were going for the jugular, and that's because it was opposing constructors facing each other. But with Hamilton and Bottas, it was one person was saying to the other, please, may I pass? The other one said, no, let me go first. And it was a very polite fight. So it was interesting to see that Lewis Hamilton wanted to go for it and Bottas wanted to defend his position. But that was at the most aggression we saw. Because when Hamilton overtook Bottas, normally he will shut you out. You will drive off the track. He's that simple. He will shut the door. But because it was his teammate, he left a little bit of window. Sorry, it wasn't a window. It was a golf course. It was that wide. He left too much room for Bottas to make it back in. So that's why he's saying. That's why I guess he's saying that it is better for him to be fighting against other constructors than with his teammate, because he can't really fight with his teammate. There'll be that meeting after. There'd be the newspaper headlines. There'd be all the talk that you wouldn't want around the team, especially if you want to keep winning, all the antagonism you don't need around the team. So he'd rather be fighting with a Ferrari. Well, he always tries to avoid Verstappen, because Verstappen is crazy. But he'd rather be fighting with somebody else than fighting with his teammate, because fighting with his teammates is not really fighting. It will just be, those hand fights that you're turning your face away and batting your hands. Yeah, that's what it is. So I agree with him about not wanting to fight your teammate, but as it is, I don't think there'll be one or two races where other constructors will show up. But at the end of the day, Mercedes are just in a class of their own this season, and I don't think it's going to be anything.
Okay, all right, let's go to some comments. Chimobi Victor says, for me, I totally agree with Ike Showroom. Our home-based players need to step up their game so that the coach can look at them. Is that what Ike Showroom said? That's what he said now.
This one is giving us his Nollywood version. You have to.
He also said, for me, I totally agree with Ikeshirim. Okay, that's fine. Tega says, oh well, not Tega. Emeka from Surrey says, Tega, I'm surprised I did not hear or see your name on the ministerial list submitted yesterday.
Exactly, and he's not the only one. Chimobi said that, Tega, I always enjoy analysis. I'm looking forward to the day you become the sports minister, because you deserve it more than the rest. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
I'm not politically correct.
You don't have to. We're looking forward to the day when technocrats, sorry, I don't want to say I said all of them are not technocrats, so that we have technocrats.
It's Ayo that spoke. My name is Tega Onojaife. I said nothing.
And you have nothing to do with politics.
Nothing to do with politics. All right, okay, so this is not a political show, it's a sports show, and we'll go on a break. When we come back, we have more stories for you. We'll be looking at what's happening with Messi, with Zidane, Zizou, and perhaps a little bit of Griezmann as well in Barcelona. But stay tuned, it's Locker Room 981.
World-class music. World-class
Hey.
Welcome to Nine Mobile Experience Center. How may I help you?
Look, I need a simple plan that allows me to browse all I want, call all I want, and text all I want without any restrictions.
Oh, Moreflex is the perfect all-in-one plan for you. When you join Moreflex on 9 Mobile, you get double data on your data purchase.
Really?
You also get 300% extra on every Moreflex bundle. Now, that's more than just value. It's Moreflex. Just dial *344 *amount hash to get started. 9 Mobile. Here for you. Here for Ninja. 82 minutes play. That's 9 Mobile. Here for you.
Okay, we're back. You're on ahead at 9 Mobile. All right, you're welcome. This is the Locker Room 981 brought to you by 9 Mobile on Smooth Breakfast with Ayo Mairo Ese.
And Valentine Ohu. It's time for the locker room. We're still on sharing sports stories with you. Now let's go talk boxing. Now, junior welterweight Maxim Dadashev died on Tuesday morning as a result of the brain injuries he suffered during an 11th round knockout loss to Subriel Matias on Friday at the NGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Dadashev was 28. His trainer, Buddy McGirt, confirmed Dadashev's death. In his words, he described it as this: "It just makes me realize what type of sport we're in, man." McGirt said he did everything right in training, no problems, no nothing. My mind is like really running crazy right now. Like, what could I have done differently? But at the end of the day, everything was fine in training. He seemed okay. He was ready. But it's the sport we're in. It just takes one punch, man.
Okay, so let me start this story. First of all, this is one of the reasons why my mother, she can't even watch football when they head the ball. She has a big problem with it. Once they jump up to head the ball, she cannot take it.
Concussion.
Exactly. And so you look at the boxing itself. I don't even want to talk about UFC because I don't even put that on when she's around. You look at boxing itself, and if you're going to make the points, you're going to hit upper body. If you're going to, you have to. If you're going to knock somebody out, which is what most boxers aim for, you're going to have to hit the head somewhere. And that's where the dangers of boxing is. And so sometimes I feel a little bit like those fans in the crowd when the gladiators of old were fighting and they were thirsty for blood. And I used to say, why are those people thirsty for blood? But I'm watching boxing and I'm cheering too. So I'm basically doing the same thing those people used to do. So it's the danger of the sport, and it's mean. But here is my problem with this particular fight. So his trainer in the 9th round looked at him and said, I need to stop this fight. And it takes me back to one of my favorite boxers of all time, Joe Frazier, when he was fighting. I think it was the second fight with Muhammad Ali. And Joe Frazier had the cut on his eye. So first of all, he was blind in one eye. It was, how they call it, medical blind in one eye. It's not like it was shut down. And then he had the cut on the other eye. And so he couldn't see, which is why he took a lot of punches to the head. He couldn't see Muhammad Ali's punches coming because of the condition he had prior to that. To that fight. And so his trainer looks at him and says, you know what, this fight should end. You can always come back and fight again. Because but Joe Frazier was so bitter because Muhammad Ali has bad mouth. Muhammad Ali is a terrible person. When we calling somebody chimpanzee and the likes, oh yes, Muhammad Ali was bad. So Frazier was fighting from bitterness and he refused to give up. And so his trainer, of his own volition, threw in the towel. After discussing with Joe Frazier refused to give up. He threw in the towel. Joe Frazier did not talk to him from that day till when he died.
But he made that call.
But he made the call to save his life. He took the decision and said, you know what? Whether you like it or not, this fight ends now. And Joe Frazier walked out of the ring, and Joe Frazier is that kind of man. He doesn't talk much, which means he holds a lot in his heart. He walked straight out of the pitch. He not say goodbye, hello, you're crazy. Why did you do this? He just walked straight on by, and that was the end of their relationship. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't take phone calls. Nothing. And sometimes I think you need to be bold enough to take that decision, because this guy's trainer sees him in the 9th round and says, I don't think he should be fighting, and spoke to the doctor at the side of the ring and says, I don't think this guy should continue the fight. And then you ask the boxer, and the boxer says, I want to continue fighting. This is what I came here for. This is what we train for. And so that fight that should have ended in the 9th round, if the trainer had taken the decision to just throw in the towel because of what he had seen, maybe, just maybe, the damage wouldn't have been this serious. But he let that fight last 2 more rounds. And then in the 11th round, when he could see that the guys, because when the boxer sat down, he said, this guy is gone. There's no point for me. He's literally fighting on adrenaline right now, because physically I can see that he's gone. And that's when he decided that he told the doctor at the side of the ring that, okay, right now, let's end it. without the boxers, of course, support, but he ended the fight. But that was 2 rounds later.
Oh, gosh.
And so maybe, just maybe, he could have saved his life if he took that decision. I'm not saying because these boxers, I tell people all the time, I'm yet to see, apart from when it comes to monetary reasons why people don't come for training, I'm yet to see an athlete that doesn't want to perform.
Yeah.
Because that's all they live for.
Yes.
And which is why when they retire, it's so hard for them to function normally, because they miss that rush, that adrenaline. They miss it. So sometimes you on the outside have to take those major decisions. And so if you ask me, yes, boxing is a terrible, it can be a gory sport, and yes, there's a strong case that it should be cancelled. But I think that this death could have been avoided if some people took the right decisions when they should have.
It's so sad. He was only 28 years
Yeah,
old.
and he has a very young son. He has a young son, so I think his son is maybe under 5. So there's no.
Well, I have my thoughts about boxing, but I'll leave it at that.
Your
So
thoughts or reservations?
my thoughts, reservation. I think I've shared it before.
Yes, you mentioned.
But yeah, but there we go. Okay, so let's go on to football. Messi gets World Cup qualifier ban for Copa red card. So Argentina captain Lionel Messi has received a 1-game suspension from World Cup qualifying after a controversial red card at this summer's Copa America in Brazil. The Barcelona star was also handed a $1,500 fine for criticizing the tournament's refereeing and the quality of the pitches. Now Messi has apologized for his statement, but South American football body CONMEBOL upheld the ban yesterday and added the fine.
Okay, so here it's there's nothing wrong. It's a red card. It's a red card, so he has to serve the 1-match ban. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. But also the Argentine FA representative that was on the seat of CONMEBOL has lost his seat because he also complained about favoritism towards Brazil and the pitches and the rest of and the likes. So he's lost his seat, and they're going to look for a replacement for him. He was already supposed to be the replacement, but now they're going to look for another replacement for him through the elections that should have happened anyway. So his time was almost up. They're just showing him the exit door a little earlier. But here's my problem with this thing. The Brazil coach, Tite, also complained about the pitches. Where's his fine? Where's his suspension? So you cannot tell me right now that CONMEBOL is not Brazil biased if you're fining people for complaining about not just officiating, but also the state of the pitches and the state of the organization. And then you don't find Tite, who came out to the public. He said it in a press conference, so many papers carried it. And not one fine, not one comment, nothing, no suspensions. So you find Argentina, and we understand that there are rules and they've broken the rules, so they should be fined. But where is Tite's fine for breaking the rules too? Now, right now, they cannot tell me on CONMEBOL not being biased. So, well, at the end of the day, it's beginning to look like the Argentines were right.
Yeah.
Well, quick messages here. Ojo says, please no ministerial appointment for Tega. Locker room is more important. Tony from Coca says, RIP, hardly for me to watch boxing and UFC, let alone be a partaker. Shay says, Ayo, yes, my Chelsea beat Barcelona. Please, Tega, talk about Chelsea job. Is Lampard ripe or underripe for Chelsea job? Valentine, one day Tega will be Minister of Sports or Minister of Women Affairs. Let's not push it, please. All right. Please leave your message, your names, add your names to your messages so we can take them on WhatsApp.
My lifestyle is music.
Because when we come back, we actually have only like 30 seconds. So I wanted us to read the comments when we get back. We have 4 minutes of ads, 4 whole minutes. Okay, so we have comments on what's it called? On YouTube. Some comments. Thank you, our YouTube fam, for being so lovely.
I rushed to watch who scored the Barcelona goal. Only for you not to read the story.
But are you serious?
That's what I was watching when I came in.
Oh, and we can. No, it's the last. That is the next story.
And this is how you listen to music with Wobblies.
Know the difference. Step up to a
My friend
connection that
always delivers because it's more than just data. It's more blaze. Dial *200 *3 *1# to get started.
Time Mobile. Here for you. Here for Naija.
Hi, my name is Dakori, and I'm going to tell you about your favorite Milo Ready to Drink. Milo Ready to Drink is made from the natural goodness of milk, malt, and cocoa,
Oh
and
God, I'm
fortified with
sweetheart. I need
essential
a
vitamins and minerals, so I can
Where is
now
Miss
pack
Skill?
the winning energy of Milo into
Oh,
my
thanks a lot for
children's
this video.
lunchboxes. So,
I
moms,
need a
what are you
miracle.
waiting for? Make sure your child is always ready to win every day with Milo Ready to Drink.
Milo, the energy food drink of future champions. Hi, Uche. Why are you sweating like this?
Femi, this heat is something else. Oh. Even the fan is not helping at all.
So, get an air conditioner.
Air conditioner? How? With my small generator?
Yes, you can. With LG Gen Cool Air Conditioner.
Really? How?
You can power a 1 horsepower LG Gen Cool air conditioner with 0.7 kVA generator and 1.5 horsepower with a 0.9 kVA generator.
Wow! And I have been suffering all along.
And you also get 70% energy saving, 40% faster cooling, and still cut down on your electricity bill.
Okay, thanks. I need to get going.
Where are you off to?
I cannot bear this heat. I'm going to the nearest LG store to buy an LG Gen Cool air conditioner.
Relax and enjoy in comfort with LG Gen Cool air conditioner. And it comes with a 10-year warranty on the compressor. LG, life's good.
Hey, Dad.
Abika, who is this?
Dad, meet T-Buddy. T-Buddy, meet my dad. I'll be back.
Sit down, young man. What do you do?
I'm into
Female anatomy, Abi?
no, sir. Fitness and well.
What are your plans for my daughter?
Sir, just her.
Dad, T is my instructor.
Trust issues can make you suspect anything. But when it comes to calls, Airtel Smart Talk puts your mind at ease. So free your
Valentine,
mind.
I saw your
Enjoy
Instagram
a flat
post.
rate of 11 kobo per second to call all
That's so
networks.
nice.
Plus,
Post or
7
comment?
naira
Yeah,
access
post.
fee on first call of the day.
The
Dial
finance
star
nice.
three
I
one
I don't think you got
to
the angle
join.
well.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That picture was not your regular.
He said he wanted to copy what I did yesterday. Meanwhile, yesterday you were the photographer, so you did it differently.
Who took that picture? You have to delete it.
Mercy.
So I don't know, Valentine, you have to get a clone of yourself so that they can be taking photos of you.
I have to get what?
You have to get another version of yourself. Clone yourself.
Such a-
But you
Well, it emphasizes.
But you did okay.
It emphasizes my message, what I wrote in the caption.
That was.
Yeah.
Read it, it's
I saw
awkward.
it.
I read the whole caption.
Picture taken of
It's not bad though, but it's not like your normal GQ picture.
Picture is not like that.
Valentine, do you know the kinds of photos you take?
Okay, are you talking about the tone of the picture? Like, because
No, it's
black
just
and white?
I don't even know everything about it.
Wow. Hard.
It's not as nice as your usual photos.
You know, there's always an intensity.
From Tega
Okay, oh, people of God, we are coming back in 20 seconds and we have 10 seconds for the end of the show. The advert is too long. I don't know why they start putting so much.
So making money.
But we like it to bring more money to us. Mike's up, guys.
This is Big House, and you're listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
Yes, we love music, we love life, and we love sports. It's Locker Room 981 final stretch here with Tega Supreme.
Yeah.
And
Valentine and Ayo.
are you the analyst?
And the story, please, just maybe the headline so that some Blues fans will be all
All
right.
right, okay. What's Locker Room without some shade? All right, okay. So let's go on to Antoine Griezmann's style at Barcelona. So just take us through that.
Yeah, so he's saying after playing the first match on the and losing to Chelsea,
Mhm.
he's saying that he's going to have to change his style because what used to happen at Atletico Madrid was that they were a bit direct, especially in the final third. So the ball will come to him a little quicker, because sometimes they just avoid the midfield totally. And if the ball does get to the midfield, they'll look up and get the ball to Antoine Griezmann. But with Barcelona, they like to romance the ball, put makeup, wear some frills, have jewelry on. By the time,
like
yeah, by the time Griezmann gets the ball, the party's already over. So he's saying he may have to adjust his style to fit what Barcelona is playing. What he does not understand is that at Barcelona, they still used to pass the ball a lot under the likes of Guardiola and Luis Enrique, but they did it a little bit faster in the final third, and that's what Valverde doesn't do. Valverde is just very slow to think, very slow to react. Everything about him is a little slow. And for me, like I said previously, the bottom line is you can get the best of ingredients. If the cook is a horrible cook, the soup will still not be sweet. And that's what's happening at Barcelona. They have a good team, but the cook is horrible. And so the output is horrible. Think about it. Lampard was coaching in the championship last season. All of a sudden he's beating you. I know some people will say it's a friendly, some people will say it's a friendly and it's not a big deal. But if you look at how they played, it's from the friendlies you know how ready a team is. Look at how they play. Look at the names that were on the pitch. All the Rakitiches, the Antoine Griezmann. Yes, there was no Messi. Yes, there was no Luis Suarez. But the names on the pitch were enough to be the likes of, please, for crying out loud, Tammy Abrahams. If not for anybody, for him. So stop saying it's a friendly. Look at it and mark the script correctly. Valverde is not a good coach. He needs to go.
All right, so someone said,
take the president with you.
On YouTube asks, who is slower, Valverde or Raw? Olufemi says boxing is such a dangerous sport while involved in it. And then Tochuku says, well, nice one, guys. Then Kodri says someone should switch off the AC. Our sport oracle, Tega, looks cold.
I am cold. It's not the AC, don't worry. It's the bills that I'm coming from.
And then
he's
saying that, please, can you praise us for beating Barcelona yesterday? Think the ban on the transfer market will help us. Those young boys will come good. All right, Lagos, that's all we have for you on the locker room, every part of the locker room this morning. Thank you, Tega. Tega is at Tega Supreme on Twitter, and LIS conference is on Friday.
Yeah!
And Tega is at LIS International on Twitter as well, so please follow her. Good morning.
Well done.